Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. As you guys know, Aptera is using a yoke instead of a steering wheel on their vehicles, and they've recently changed the yoke to be all black here. It used to be white on the bottom and black on top, and people were afraid that the white would get dirty and just look unsightly, so they changed to black, which I think was a wise move. But I know that the yoke has been a fairly controversial decision for many people. And I kind of was in the wait and see camp. My impression of the yoke is that in most driving situations, it's not going to be a big deal. Most of the time when you're driving, you don't turn this very much. When you're parallel parking or parking the vehicle, then you do have to rotate this quite a bit, and the yoke is going to be different than a steering wheel, and many would say inferior. Um, People do talk about how Formula One cars have a yoke, but the difference between Formula One cars is that they have variable ratio steering and they're only about 300 degrees lock to lock. And most normal cars are going to be 800 to 900 degrees lock to lock on their steering wheel. And we've asked Aptera whether there's going to be variable ratio on this, like in an F1 uh, car, but it's not. It has variable amounts of assist, and it gives you slightly more assist in certain areas, but it's the ratio is the same. You're still going to have to turn this thing 800 to 900 degrees most likely to do it. So the yoke is you're gonna have to rotate this completely around to do some of those maneuvers. So we know that Aptera is, Steve and Chris are big fans of Tesla, and that's probably one of the places that they got this yoke from. They like the NACS port, and many times in the interviews they talk about how they have Tesla cars and they like a lot of things about the Tesla. They're gonna have an app, and the Tesla started this whole like putting everything on a screen and using the screen as an interface. So they're following a lot of Teslas lead on those things. And so you know that the Tesla has had a yoke on their Model X and Model S. Their yoke, honestly, I think is like worse than Aptera. So looks more like a steering wheel. This just looks weird. The other thing that Tesla did is they got rid of the stock and put like the stock functions here, which I think is a really bad idea because then this thing turns with the thing. And a lot of people have hated it in enough that some aftermarket people are like putting some things on the yoke to make it look like a full steering wheel. And in January of this year, Tesla added the round steering wheel back as a free option for Model X and Model S. And when they asked him why, it's because a lot of customers just didn't like it. And they said, I think it was just making sure that we had a car that people loved. And if someone loved the car, but the yoke was in the way, we just wanted to remove that obstacle. And more recently, um, on March 16th, 2023, they've now offered an aftermarket changeout. So you can change out your yoke for a steering wheel, but they're going to charge you $700 for it, which I think is a little annoying. But they've offered it was offered as a feature starting in January, and now starting in March, they can you can get it retrofit for $700, as you can see right here. And so you get this. I wonder if this is going to make Aptera kind of rethink their yoke. Um, you know, as far as I know, the only production cars with a yoke are Teslas. I'm not aware of any other uh, production cars with yokes. If you guys know of them, please let me know in the comments below. So Aptera would basically be following in Tesla's footsteps with this, much like they are with the Port. And there's many reasons to like the yoke. It gives you really good visibility out front and of these screens, but it's just not something that people are used to. Now, there were a bunch of videos that people were showing earlier about how when you turn the yoke, it's really hard to deal with. But then most of those people that made those videos came back and said, you know what, after a few months, I got used to it, and it wasn't that bad. You just kind of get used to it. But if you're used to a steering wheel, this is different, especially when you're doing those maneuvers. So okay, I just happened to see this article today about how Tesla's offering a retrofit, and I know that Aptera's following in Tesla's footsteps in many ways. And I wondered if that was going to make Aptera kind of rethink the yoke. That's, a lot of their design is locked down. Obviously they've cut steel for the body panels at CPC Group, and probably the suspension and all that stuff is kind of locked down. But the yoke is probably still something that if they really wanted to change, it's not too late to change that. They probably could do that, and it wouldn't be too hard to just like add a top portion to this from their supplier. So let me know what you guys think about the yoke. I mean, I think most of us were kind of in a wait and see pattern, and that's what I was. And I honestly think I could live with it, and it would be fine. I don't know that it offers so many advantages over in terms of visibility that the disadvantages of not having a full wheel are overcome by it. But that was a design decision that they made, and I was kind of okay with it. But yeah, me personally, I would probably prefer a wheel as well. But I wasn't one of these people that was just like, yoke is a deal breaker. It's not a deal breaker for me. But if they do move back to a full wheel, I won't be disappointed by that. All right. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks as always to our supporting members. Have a great day, everyone.